going to start. The topic today is to be great at your job. And so all of us do job site work where we are craftsmen with our hands. So that means that every day we're going to projects and we're working with our hands, and we understand craft when we're paying attention, when we're doing good work, when we're delivering the best each step, all those things. And I think that if we want to build an iconic company, and to me an iconic company is where you're doing something people can't even believe it's true. So maybe this meeting is part of building an iconic company that everybody gather together to learn things about how the business runs beyond the day-to-day work. We're going to invest in our future. We're going to take young men and give them a tremendous amount of responsibility that I think most people try to shy away from. And we're going to put that in the hands of people that I think will lead our company and make really good decisions to make people successful here and make our customers successful. But I think everything that we do has to be done as a craftsman, not just the work we do, but how we operate the business. And so every job here should be done as a craftsman. Our shop should be ran as a craftsman. Our mechanical role should be run as a craftsman. Our business manager role should be run as a craftsman. And I believe that that sets the tone for our operational capacity too. I don't think that we'll ever be able to perform on a job site at a higher level of craftsmanship than the operational components of our business as well. And so I'm actually changing this meeting from Think Like an Owner to As a Craftsman, because I want to share, my role requires craftsmanship in a different way. And I want to share that with you guys so you can understand it and know it and see the systems and operations of a business. But I don't want it to be focused on just odor, because that's a shared responsibility by a lot of people that run operations here. That's just not just a B role. And so this meeting, this monthly meeting or semi-monthly meeting, will be called As a Craftsman. And there's some goals as part of this meeting. Some of the goals is I still want to share what I know about a topic, that this is what I think about craftsmanship in a certain topic, to be great at your job. One thing we're going to talk about today is the annual plan. We're going to use my annual plan as a template for this meeting. But all of us here go through an annual plan or 6-month check-in, and this annual plan is one of the tools to be great at your job. I think there's multiple tools. We're just going to talk about one tool. And I think that this tool should be between the leader and the person that they work with every day. I think that relational capacity is really important. And one thing about being an owner, if you watch too many YouTube videos or Instagram clips, they'll talk about be your own boss or all the freedom of running the company. And I don't partake or believe in that truly to be great at a job as an owner. I think a role of an owner, you are responsible and you have many customers, you have many bosses. And I would say that every customer that hires us to do a job is my leader or my boss, and I would say all of you are my boss. And that's why we're going to use my annual plan as a template for today, because I feel responsible for the jobs we do. I feel responsible for my role and how it impacts everybody here. And so you guys are my bosses, and you choose every day. You choose to continue to work here. You choose to show up today. Our customers choose to hire us, and so that carries a lot of responsibility. I don't think business ownership requires less responsibility or less bosses. I think you have many, many, many bosses. So my job, the role and accountability of my job as a president is, I guess every job in our company has what we call a role scorecard. And this role scorecard details out what the job includes. And if you've been here for a while, you've read the role scorecard, we continue to refine it and edit it, but this lays out what the job, what you can expect from that job, that role, and how to do a really good job at it. And so one of the most important things as we walk into an annual planning session is we have to define what that job is first. And so we have to define it so we know if you're doing a good job or a bad job. And what we'll notice on my job description, luckily, is it does not say operate the forklift. Because yesterday, I tried to unload a truck. I know I'm not that great of a forklift driver. I wish I was better. And there was a delivery. Ben was locked in, Kyle was locked in, so I was like, I'll just unload it real quick. Like, it can't be that hard. Well, there was a skid stacked 4 high with 5-gallon buckets, and as I'm trying to get out of the trailer, I don't know how this happens, but my skid breaks and all the buckets tumble inside the trailer. And at this point, I don't even know if these buckets Like it's just a pile of 5-gallon buckets filled with epoxy. So I don't know if there's a spill. I don't know if hopefully everything's safe in the containers. And so I grabbed that in a silo real quick to help me unload because I'm expecting to find just a spill epoxy liquid in the back of this guy's trailer, who also looks like Mike Tyson or somewhat afraid of. And I just spilled epoxy all of the stuff. And so that was a silly mistake by me. Luckily, that's not on my role scorecard. But if it was, you guys might be saying, hey, this role might not be a good fit for you. You're either going to have to get better at being a forklift driver, you're going to have to find another job in our company. And so that's the idea with these role scorecards. We should help align our giftings, our skills with the right job that we're in. And that's the one neat thing about as our business grows is you can play your strengths more. And as you're playing your strengths more, we have people better in better roles, and we get better and better and better. And there's no isolation. Every job here requires someone else to do their job. And so we have to do our job well so that other people can do their job well so we can deliver to customers. So I'm going to read this talk. You guys all have a copy of this. I'll read the role purpose. I'm not going to read the outputs. The outputs are like the very tactical work I have to do as part of each round. But I am going to be asking your guys' feedback and advice today. And so I need you to, as we read through this, kind of be thinking in your mind, like, how does Nick do in this? And I know each of you have different roles and responsibilities and relational capacity with me and what my work does and where you might see these things play out. And that's the purpose of today, is I am accountable to all of you and in different roles and responsibilities. So the role of the president is responsible for the overall health and direction of the business. The role works through capable, accountable leaders. The president oversees operations, protects the standards of the work, and shapes the culture of the company. The 5 major roles and accountabilities is growing leaders, develop people who can think, decide, and lead. This requires reading, writing, sketching, and clearly sharing technical standards and business expectations. So that's what growing leaders looks like in my role. So you can say, hey, how is Nick doing in that job? Best work, protect and elevate the standard of our craft. Understanding the details, modeling what excellence looks like, and intervening with standards drift. Sales and marketing, ensuring our messaging and reputation are aligned to the work. Everything the customer sees or experiences should reflect clarity and quality. Messaging must be consistent and accurate. Finance and legal, protect the health and longevity of the business. This includes financial performance, legal obligations, risk assessment, and disciplined investment decisions. And then design a system, create flow inside the business, understand how the company operates its turf, simplify where possible, identify bottlenecks, strengthen alignment, step in where needed. So those are my responsibilities. So if you've been frustrated by not clear messaging, inaccurate things, different people saying different things, not having documented work and procedures, like any of those frustrations that you felt in our business ultimately are a lack of my ability to lead as a president. When you can feel the things operating well, hopefully that shows that I've been doing my job. And so that's my role and accountability as president of the company. And then every job in our business also has metrics and measurements. And we want to make sure we don't operate on feelings. So being a great craftsman requires a good instinct, intuition about things, but we also have to have the data to back it up. And so we don't want to operate in like, yeah, I think I'm a sweet president, but there's no data to support it. Or I think I'm an incredible team leader. Our team's the best team, but we don't have any data to support it. And so data helps clarify if our feelings are accurate. I could also say, man, I'm terrible at this, but the measuring show that maybe I'm not. And so for accountability to be fair, there's got to be measurements or metrics associated with roles and responsibilities. And every job has roles and responsibilities in metrics. So when you're brand new and you feel like, man, I'm working hard, I'm here all the time, but we show that you called off 7 times in the first 6 months, we'd be like, hey man, other people don't call off 7 times in the first 6 months. Or we could say, hey, you're here all the time, you notice that, we get that you're here early and loading, like we notice those things too. Those are measurements to a basic role. And so some of the metrics for my role, and I would say as I read these, think about like a scale of 1 to 5. How am I rating on a scale of 1 to 5 on some of these things? And some of the metrics of my job is best work. Are we designed to consistently deliver our highest standard for work? Do customers consistently comment on our high quality? So if you start hearing rumors in the community that's like dancers craft, they used to be great. Like that would be a failure in my part as president to uphold great standards and continue to deliver great value to our customers. So do customers consistently comment on our high quality? Are we trusted partners on the most demanding projects? It means if somebody's got a hard job, do they clearly say, hey, let's call Dancer here to get this thing out? Business health. Is the business becoming more durable and stable over time? I understand you got to be part of the business for a while to understand, like, hey, is this a healthier, more stable business than it used to be? Now, coming back to our bathroom situation, if you've been here over 10 years, we used to not have a bathroom. So trailers and parking lot were a go-to move for us back up there. So this is just kind of a stay and scrappy mentality. Is there consistency in revenue, margin, backlog, and cash flow? Is my time spent in response and foresight or constant reaction? Growing leaders. Are we growing healthy leaders who can operate in their job without my involvement? Do we have the right people in the right roles? Do we have depth in those roles? And that means do we have backup plans? So if somebody gets hurt, if somebody leaves the company, are we at a loss, or have we been strategically planning? You know, not everybody's going to be ready, but do we have backup plans to roles and responsibilities in our company? Are the skills of each person growing? Have you, in your life, in your role, in the time you've been here, have your skills grown? And are current leaders representing the culture we expect inside the business? Are your leaders, when you go out during the day, or are you seeing the core values lived out internally in the company? Or is there a separate culture from the one I preach and the one we live? And then externally, are we representing the brand of the business you want to be part of to the market and the community in which we live? And so those are the metrics for my role. And so I got a job, you can measure me my job. And one thing I want to build, and one thing I really like, is autonomy. And so autonomy is trust. It means that I want to develop good judgment within a standard, and I want autonomy in my role. So that means I want to be trusted within the framework of our business to make good decisions. And that's good judgment within a standard. And that's the same thing I would extend to people in our business too. And I do not want to be a micromanager, and I also don't want to be an absentee president either. So our job boards are a simple example of how I want to be led and how I want to be. And the idea is, give me, if you're going to go do something today, give me a rough idea of the top 3 things you're going to do in your day. And I can see an overview of your day, and I can intervene if I need to see something, or if I see that everything's covered, it's pretty simple, then I get it, you're good to go, you're locked in for the day. Now, if you're going to do, let's just say, a 50 cut, and then you're going to growl, and you're going to do 100s. If you list 50, LSCS, growl, start 100s, I can clearly see that you fell through. If you just say grind, I recognize, like, hey, we haven't done all the detail. If you don't fill out your board by the time the day starts, I see the gap. Like, these things is like, the more trust you show, the more trust is given. If you start putting on, we're going to cut 50s, then we're going to edge 50s, then we're going to remove the tooling from the machine, then we're going to wash the 50s. I'm like, wait, that's way too much detail. I just need the big picture stuff of your day so I can intervene. You have a lot of freedom in your role. You're going to send crews out throughout the region, installing, making decisions on job sites. And I just need the framework of the trust to know that you understand the what you're walking into, I understand, and then we can detail it out if needed. But autonomy increases as trust increases. If I got to keep reminding you, or if you got to keep reminding me of something I said I would do, that's going to destroy trust. If I regularly, like every time you do an epoxy job, we don't put the details up, and I'm saying, hey, epoxy jobs are really important. It's a one-time job. Some of the most expensive installs and delays on job sites have been because we mix epoxy wrong. We really want to put the details in a board. I also see more just a way to teach and train new people to understand epoxy and start getting used to hear the name, we'd use the rollers, the square foot per gallon. And if you never put that up, it's going to destroy trust that I'm asking and we're not doing it. But every time you do an epoxy job, it's up there, it's locked in, it's ready, then I have higher trust that you're going to run your crew well as well. And that's one example of many, many things that play out. And so we all have responsibilities to each other. I have responsibilities to you, and I got to make sure that if I want more autonomy in my role, you don't have to remind me to do the job that I already know how to do. So I shared my role. We all have a role to do, a job. It's defined. Measurements and metrics. You guys have the framework to measure that. I'm telling you that I want autonomy. I also want to be really good at my job. So I want to be a great president of our business. I told you I want to build an iconic company. I think feedback or advice is a tool to get better. So knowing these things, I need your help and your advice to help me be a better president for you. I want to build a business that you want to work at. I want to build a business that you're proud of being a part of. I hope that most of these people in this room right now, several years from now, can sit here again for another monthly meeting and feel more successful, more fulfilled, and feel really good about the work they do, and that they've been given the opportunity to become a better man or person through the work we do. And I need your help to do those things. So one example is if I was telling you guys I was always, hey, I want to be healthy, I want to be lean, I want my mind to be fresh, but yesterday I was on the road, and this is a go-to road lunch for me. So I had a nice sugar-free Red Bull. I thought I was being healthier because I got the 8.4 can instead of 12-ounce can, and sugar-free. And then here's some chili lime pistachios. So this is my go-to gas station lunch. So if I was always telling you I need to be healthy, and then you always know I'm choosing this for lunch, hopefully you guys tell me, hey, Nick, try lettuce. Try Mark's ham sandwich. You don't have to drink Red Bull and pistachios. And maybe if I planned a little bit better, maybe if it was more important, I would maybe. I wouldn't say help you. I don't feel terrible about this. I'll just say that a nutritional expert, Marshall's wife is like a nutritional expert. If I told her this was my lunch, she would probably say, make different decisions. This is not allowed in Marshall's house. Yeah. So I need your guys' help and advice to make my life better. And if you see something like this, call me out. And not like right now about this, but I'm talking about in my role as president. This is the idea of like, hey, if you want to be great, Nick, this is what we see that is probably holding me back from being great. Not this, for example, but I got habits and behaviors and patterns that are probably keeping me from being my best. And one thing to remember too about this feedback session or advice, and maybe I'm just trying to soften the blow for myself, but every person in here has a soul. And we share around the team, like what are our hopes and dreams and what are we excited about? It seems to be that we want to be great husbands and fathers, and we want to work hard, we take pride in the work we do, and we enjoy our time away from work. And so one of the things is, this is more personal, and I just decided, this is something I have regularly with me, and I decided to share with you guys. And this is a more personal statement, but it's like, what do I want my life to look like? And I even feel like when I die, so I kind of know that someday I'm going to die. What kind of life and what kind of decisions do I want to make that support a life worth living in? And these are really my personal hopes and dreams. And as you guys do annual planning sessions with people on your team who will be part of this, also know that we work together, but we have goals, we have ambitions, we have things we want to do outside of work, and work helps us do that. So, Kyle, you mentioned going on vacation. Kyle's really good at his job. He likes working here. He also likes being away from work and taking a vacation with his family. And so know that people do have things outside of work. I want to be, one of the more important things about my life is I want to raise a strong, faith-centered family. And that doesn't mean I can skip work to be with them more. It actually, for me, it means I have to work a lot to be able to support that family. We decided to have a tremendous amount of kids. They eat a tremendous amount of food. So I got to give my whole paycheck to Kroger every week. And so I got to come to work. I got to be successful in my job so I can pay Kroger to just sustain life. I also like when Amazon brings packages to my house so I don't have to go to the store for toilet paper. And so I got to go to work to do those things. And so just know everybody here has a life outside of work. They have a soul. They are a person outside of their job, their role at work. And hopefully, I think great life alignment is when one serves the other. They don't compete with each other. So last year, you guys gave me some feedback. And that feedback last year, okay, so this is last year. Last year you said, Nick, we want you to respond, not react. You guys said, Nick, pause before you speak or you act. Gather facts, ensure clarity. So it sounds like a couple people maybe got a spicy version of me before I fully vetted out my mind and my thought process. And so you guys told me to calm down a little bit. He also said, Nick, stay on the bigger picture, not the urgency of the moment. So make choices that support long-term strategy. So think about the long term. Don't get so caught up in one little scraps in the floor today. Let's think about the strategic approach of doing best work over a long time. Nick, communicate with intention. Don't give us the thumbs up emoji. You need to provide more context. And just to confirm, the thumbs up emoji means yes. It's an automatic yes. Move forward.
And that you like something and that the plan is good.
Yeah, exactly what the thumbs up emoji means.
I don't understand how you guys can't understand the thumbs up emoji.
I'll challenge that one. So the fourth one is train the team to think critically. So guide the team to assess situations, solve problems, take ownership. So those are the four things. So hopefully and the thing is, some of these patterns are still going to show up. Those are probably habits or ways I operate but hopefully that you saw some strength or some growth in those things in the last year. And so how we're going to do today is we're going to break up into teams. And this questionnaire, this leadership annual planning session questionnaire, we're going to break up into teams. The teams were listed yesterday in Discord. I also got a sheet here if you need to look at it. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a little powwows. We're going to have to get up out of our chairs, go to our little stations. We'll just plan a lane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just kind of arc around here to meet up. Marshall is going to lead up question 1. Jacob, question 2. Chelsea, question 3. Joel, question 4. Ashton, question 5. Ian, question 6. And the idea is your group is going to come together, is going to read this question, and then you're going to just for 5 minutes talk about, all right, based upon our question, our group, what feedback that we would provide Nick? And that person is going to read it out so we can capture it on the board. So group 1, you're going to talk about what were this team members, what were Nick's strongest contributions this year, and why did they matter to the team? And then we're going to capture them up here on these things. And then, Craig, come up with a go-forward plan. So, annual planning sessions are neat, they're fun, they combine a lot of stuff. We talk about so many things, and we have so much limited time and capacity to think about things. So coming up with a go-forward plan, with mine being respond, not react, lets me focus on one thing. And I'm much better if we're all better if we focus on one thing intentionally than trying to focus on 20 things at a time. There is no multitasking. So we got to focus on one thing, get better at it. But the secret power of this is when you focus on the one thing, all the auxiliary things or the things that are connected end up getting better as well. So I've heard somebody say, take my faith more seriously. So if I take my faith more seriously, all of a sudden I might be kinder, I might be more patient, I might recognize eternal perspectives instead of daily frustrations, by just focusing on that one thing. So your help to me today is help you come up with a go-forward plan so that I can be a better leader for you. So we'll go ahead and break up into teams now. Here's the list if you need to see it. And then just a 5-minute powwow, and then we're going to start capturing and we'll head off for the day. So we get out of here a little bit after 8.
Say it again. Just
So Marshall, what were some of my wins for last year? I like this one. Tell me what I'm good at.
We couldn't think of any, so we jumped to friction instead.
Oh, okay. You guys piggyback to 2?
We decided that you're adaptable and that you improved upon last year's review. You're less reactive when you walk onto job sites. You share your knowledge. You come up with solutions. You're trusting, perhaps too trusting, question mark. Do you trust to a fault? You develop systems for success, such as find flows.
Can you guys
And-
tell me who I shouldn't trust though as a group?
Probably most of the people here. And you're on us on the time clock so that we get paid.
Oh, cool. So if you guys are doing a really shitty job on your job and I walk in, I'll just be like, oh, I think we could do better, guys. That's the go-to move instead of like, this sucks, we need to redo it.
Yep.
Is that the approach you guys like?
Well, I think it was, my example was you can tell that you're fuming inside on your face, but you're less reactive to just go off. It's like you're taking a mental pause
Yeah.
before saying something.
I hold my breath until my face gets red.
Yeah,
But that's better, that has less consequences than the other version.
correct.
Okay, so adaptable, less reactive, systems focused, sharing knowledge, coming up with solutions, trusting, maybe so much to a fault, and time clock. Okay, thank you guys. All right, Marshall, you're up. You're going to capture the rest. Marshall's going to take the lead in capturing the rest of these things, and then we'll come up with a go forward plan.
Are you sure there's only 6 questions? Because I thought there was a 7th. It was like a highly detailed question that was critical to the success, to our outcome today, where we were able to just answer with a thumbs up emoji.
Oh, nice.
Did that get deleted?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So group 7, no more.
Detailed text message.
Yeah, with 3 different questions and you get a thumbs up. Yeah.
I trust you.
Question 2, friction.
Alrighty, feedback we had is when Nick gets on site, he can get excited and wants to jump in. Maybe taking a pause, consider repercussions. Some examples were living out PPE. There were some examples of jumping on a mixer and getting powder all over his face, so maybe pause and use a respirator. We talked about getting metal in the eye and spilling material on a forklift, so just maybe pause for a second and just consider what could happen if we move too fast.
I actually thought I had enough nose hair that I didn't have to wear respirators.
I mean, it could be possible. You just never know. And then we talked about, just leading with PPE. If we're telling the team we got to wear it, then we got to live the example. And then no texting and driving.
I still hear that people are nervous to ride in trucks with me.
Marshall's left-handed.
Okay. So FaceTime while driving, I'll put the camera down.
Lefty at the whiteboard, so stuff's getting smeared. May have to come back and ask you guys to repeat. Question 3, focus.
So we said.
And let me read the whole question. Or actually, why don't you read the whole question
I will
before
read
we
the whole
start?
question. Focus. If this team member focused on one improvement for an entire year, what would create the greatest impact? And we said to extend your branches equally. So touching every team member, not just focusing on team leaders or lead craftsmen, but getting everyone, touching everyone. We felt like this could help more of with inclusivity, especially the past several months, a year, the turnover we've had, just to kind of keep a pulse on everyone. And even right now, kind of maybe your thought processes of focusing on team leaders and hoping that filters down. But we kind of talked through, sometimes the messaging gets slightly not skewed, but just approached differently with different team leaders. So having the equal message come from you.
What is that what would you say is a tactical approach? What is something actionable that can happen from something like that? What's a way to actually put that into action? Is it riding back from a job site with somebody other than a team leader? Is it?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and anybody can. So the thing is, I probably didn't explain this, but each team's going to say their question. But if somebody, as we're talking, has something, some insight or something that they think adds value, we can add that to it. So we're assuming that group 3 has 80% of this handled or questioned and answered. But if somebody else has something, we can add to it. So what would you guys say is an actionable thing I can do? Is it when I'm on a job site, not just walking with the team leader and leaving, making sure I check in with everybody? Is it riding in the car with somebody? What's something that you guys would say like, oh yeah, I would like that?
Say like a coffee break or just breaking bread with somebody, have lunch, have breakfast, spend a little bit of time. You can learn a lot about somebody when you're eating with them.
Yeah. So more food delivery to the job sites.
With intention. Not just delivering it.
Yeah. Question 4.
Vision. What does a great year look like for this team member, professionally and within their role? What should be different next year, and what should remain the same? Something we think you did great. Just the amount of investment in Cast and Terrazzo, perfecting our systems and making it a easy option for architects. Say the finances and investments and getting a profit throughout the year, just making the right calls, getting us the right equipment. Yeah, everything point towards the profit. Staying present, you catch the little things, you know every little piece of the puzzle. Counting, just being a part of the biggest and best jobs, like you said, the YouTube job, or just the Pearl, just the main big buildings here in town. You're clear and direct, just we know what's expected, and I feel like we have a lot of information. I'd say different, transparency, just seeing numbers, seeing how the company's doing. It's not just every team, see how everyone's pulling weight.
Anything else from the group for question 4? And then 5.
We got what 1 to 3 craft commitments would meaningfully raise their impact, quality of work, or contribution to the team. And one thing we put is like having more intentional job site visits. And I think when you have, I don't know, rather than like kind of when you're free, I don't know how much you do this, but like if you know a team has something that is going to like change the course of their project, or say like instead of doing something if we're in the middle, maybe just be more intentional on when you're there, because that could help us, like that could change the course of our work. And it'll also, I think it'll help you connect with our customers, GC or architect. So I think we'll be able to like knock out a couple birds with one stone. Like you can be there for us and there to connect with the people that are like buying the floor. And then something else we put was a clear list of fine flow trials. So I know we're always growing and we have different ways of doing stuff, but I know we talked about it a little bit this morning, but just stuff that like we just started doing like acrylic primer and true, or you know, the just after floor touch up with grout. So just making it clear to everybody what is the process and stuff that we're working on, and just kind of navigating that.
So that's probably, if I can be more present when key decision makers are there, or when there's some major decision that could affect the job considerably. And then to recap, like we have multiple things that as part of the team, you're probably confused. Like you're like, is that a new way to do something, or is that a one-time use, or trying to clarify what those things are?
Yep.
Yeah. Is there a third one, or are those 2?
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
No, that's it.
And then 6.
clarity, where's their role unclear, or where do they need clearer expectations, boundaries, or ownership? What clarity or support can you provide to help them grow? We were just kind of talking about how maybe some more clarity on like when we get like a new product or something, like a little more like tryout period. I do feel like, I don't know if you get a little excited or what, but like sometimes there's like a new product or something, and then we'll just like, I don't know, kind of jump the gun, and maybe that's a necessary risk to take, I don't know, but we did like kind of jump ship and change stuff with like the poly pumps and stuff, and then it's not really working out, and I feel like, I don't know, just a little more, or just slower, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only problem with slower is it's boring.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's good. So now we have to come up with a go-forward plan. So we've all heard the wins, the friction, the focus, the vision, the commitment, the clarity. Now I need your help coming up with like, what's that go-forward plan? In the next year, and we probably won't actually do this next year. We'll probably skip a year and come back. So we'll say 2 years. What would you want? What would my go-forward plan be? And there's nobody assigned to this, but what's like I love phrases. So if we can come up with a clever phrase, that's bonus points for us. But what's a clever phrase to come up with? Like, what's that go-forward plan?
Should we highlight from a few of these?
Yeah, why don't you capture some?
Yeah. So anybody, this is open to anybody. Question 1 in the wins. Is there something that sticks out here? That was a softball question, but is there something that sticks out that we can highlight that we can move down to the go forward section?
Less reactive.
Yep. How about friction? Sometimes Nick can be excitable. We're asking to pause, be careful with yourself and our stuff. No text and drive, wear your PPE.
You should just transfer the emoji down.
Thumbs up.
I think pause, probably the biggest takeaway in that.
How about focus? Extend branches equally, include everyone, not just PLs and TLs. So messaging gets shared equally. We're not playing a game of telephone that way. Action, one-on-one time with all team members.
Inclusion.
Vision, investment in precast, wise investments to create profitability, landing big cool jobs, clear and direct communication.
Wise investments.
Cool jobs.
Commit, more intentional site visits, connect more with clients and GCs. Have a clear list of fine flow processes, be present when key decision makers are present.
Presence. Also fine flow.
For the fine flow, we had fine flow like trials, not
Trials.
not all the fine flow, just stuff that would chime out.
Okay.
Or like key decisions.
Present. Clarity, explain, experiment with new products before they're on work sites.
So one of the fears I have, and it probably plays into some of this reactivity or excitability, is I really fear like if I don't act on something, like one of my fears of the business is if we don't pay attention to those little things right now, then it becomes a new habit and a pattern, or that customer doesn't get good value. We get a bad reputation, and then nobody calls us and they talk about when our company used to be good, and we do bad work, and then we don't have work, and like it's this like doom cycle that I get into where it's like if we don't respond right now, bad things will happen. So it's like I'm protecting that downside from happening, from being sloppy. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm a complex human being. Overthink? Yeah. Probably. Yeah, because I'm probably protecting myself from allowing things to happen, or I've been also called like a tryhard. And so like, yeah, like allowing things to happen, I feel like, well, if I don't take control, then bad things will happen. So I have to be a tryhard, or I overthink, or I take control because maybe I lack that trust, or that will make good decisions without my influence. I'm sure anybody that's had a relationship with me sees these things play out. So what's that go forward? What's that, what do you need from me to be better at your job for a go forward plan? What you got up there, Marshall?
I just put like find a balance between go, go, go and thoughtful decisions.
Yeah.
Anybody have any advice, any ways Nick can find that balance or a better balance? Chill out. Chill out. What's the big deal? Chill out a little bit.
As long as you guys never call me with problems, I'll be super chill.
That thumbs up emoji will get a break.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as customers and you guys don't have any issues and jobs end up exactly as we have planned, I don't think there will be any issues at all. I'll be super chill. I'll be Snoop Dogg chill.
I think, so you were talking about earlier, autonomy and trust exists within like a well-defined framework. I think that with our published find flows, with the knowledge that's like accessible to all of us all the time, we are set up for success to like deliver best work when we're following those kind of best practices. And I feel like when there's this kind of squishy, hey, we're trialing something, that's where it can be like, you know, you are more tempted to insert yourself or kind of step in and make rapid decisions. So I think a lot of clarity between the here's what we kind of like don't know and are experimenting with, and here's what we really are locked in on. I feel like that would give us clarity to know when to pull you in or when it's just safe to do what we know is, you know, tried and true.
So from that, I hear like you would want my time more invested in like framework building, like, or getting clarity on something that's not clear.
Yeah, I think that would add like a lot of trickle down value to know, yeah, when we should be pulling you in on something or when to just rock and roll.
I don't know if you guys know, but that work's not as much fun because there's no immediate like joy. Like if you finish edges are done and you look at it and you're done. Building a framework is very monotonous and it's very slow and it's got a trickle effect. Not that that's not important and I don't enjoy doing those things, but it definitely doesn't have that excitement or that energy. What's that?
What if a carpenter felt that way?
Yeah, I know.
He wasn't building the structure of a house that way because it wasn't going to give him satisfaction from the outside of the house when he was done.
Yeah.
You know, I've noticed in the 5-year absence coming back, you seem to be a lot more calmer than what you were 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing, just my classmate.
Intentionality and like presence or like that clarity, like, I mean, from our question of like the focus, we focused on like team member intentionality, but I heard like site visits, being intentional with the site visits, intentional with like customers, key decision makers, things like that. Like, yeah, your intentionality, I feel like would be something around that going forward.
So we have find balance, clarity, framework, intentionality. What's a go forward plan? What's an actionable thing? Like last year, remember it was respond, not react. So it said, hey, here's something you can do. So the go forward plan, we want it to be something you can do. What's something I can do. Or maybe that's my problem, is I always want to do. So you can't do intentional, right? You can't do balance.
Maybe with intentionality, something I think that ties into it a little bit is we've got 40 people out in the field. Sometimes we know that you have a lot on your plate, but we have a really important question that we have for you or want to have an important talk with you. And sometimes it feels like so many people are pulling at your attention that it's almost like an elevator pitch. Like I've got a minute of Nick's undivided attention, and then I've got to get everything, all my questions out for this big job in that 1 minute because something else is going to happen. Is there a way that we can guarantee like locked in time with you where all your attention is on our short pitch that relates to the week of work that we're putting in on a job site somewhere?
Maybe I'm just more important than the rest of you guys, but I've never felt that. Shove myself straight in. No, I'm just,
I don't know if you guys know this about Matt, but Matt's also pretty confident, and Matt gets what he wants. Okay, let's try to sum this up in the next minute. This is me finding that go, 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 because I want to get go, go, going on our days. So go forward plan. And maybe we don't have an answer today. Maybe that's something we can talk about and zoom out with later. Just like any annual plan, it might not be during that lunch or that meeting that you come up with that go forward plan. But the idea is these are go forward plans that we need to refine. Unless somebody's got something, we could table this to know that there needs to be an action step. But because I'm so intentional and balanced, I'm not going to force this to happen.
I do almost feel like it would be beneficial to have something like this again where we're not in a time crunch. And maybe just some liaisons. It doesn't have to be the entire group, but something to discuss things. Because I feel like a lot of these things, with you being the owner of the company, there are always going to be sacrifices. A lot of this advice isn't just easy, like, here, try this more, here, do this more, because there's always going to be a sacrifice. There's a balance in something that you have to weigh, like, okay, am I willing to get rid of this in order to make this better? It's not just going to be a do this and it'll all be better type thing. None of it's easy. So I think just deeper conversations would be super beneficial.
Okay. Anybody against tabling this? And we will allow some space. And I would much rather have a more defined go forward plan that's real and actionable, and I can follow up via a Monday or the one pager about what I learned from this and go forward. Unless anybody's got anything else to like really sum it up. Thank you guys. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to see if we should call GCs and let them know we're not going to be in today. We got to stay here.
Yes. Yeah. So, thank you guys for this. I appreciate this. Just know that annual plans are a gift. It should be a celebration. It should be something that we're excited about. We're helping someone be more successful. And your feedback, even if I know these things about myself and I want to change it, when you hear somebody else say it and recognize it, and it should affect change. Like, I want to get better. These are the ways I can be better for you. I've clearly known that, hey, even if I'm frustrated, the team is not going to appreciate a burst of anger. They're going to appreciate an approach that builds a system approach that has clarity. And this is a gift to me, so thank you guys for this. And that's Daily Huddle Board Shop.